We'll start with Jeff Ferrato from Cal Sports Report. Go ahead, Jeff.
Justin, I'm not going to ask you the question you think I'm going to ask you. Instead, you've got a lot of change on your team on both sides of the ball. Awful lot of new players. Transfer portal was pretty busy. Do you have a sense of what your team is going to look like, or do you have to really wait until Saturday afternoon to know that?
I think the true test is, game day, Jeff. I have a lot of confidence in the guys that returned and then the guys that we added, either through the transfer portal or high school. But yeah, there is a process in terms of getting to playing together, creating that chemistry, I think, which is really, really important on offense, defense, and special teams. So ultimately the test is on Saturdays, but I'm excited for them. I'm excited for us. And, we'll have a lot of growth, just being out there on the field together for the first time. And we'll need to make sure that each and every play, series, game that we're out there, that we're getting a little bit better.
Have you ever coached a team with this many new players, and how do you think they're developing that chemistry so far?
I have not. It's just part of the era that we're in, but I think they've done a really good job starting way back in January when some of these newcomers joined us, and then again in June of working together on and off the field. I think guys recognize that team chemistry is critically important, just like blocking and tackling is, and spending time with each other outside of the building is key to that. And they did a really nice job of that.
Thank you.
All right, next question will be from Kyle No from the Daily Cal.
Hey, Coach. Obviously a familiar face on the opposing sideline this Saturday with Tim Plow. What's your mindset facing off against him, and what are you expecting from this UC Davis team?
Well, I know Tim well. He's a heck of a coach, heck of a person. They're going to be really well coached in all phases of the game. I know those guys are going to come in here prepared. They got good players, and so we got a ton of respect for that team and their coaches. And it'll be a hard-fought game. I know that, and I know our team's going to be excited to play too. It's first game of the year, first time for a lot of them in a Cal uniform, so it's an exciting time.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Jim McGill from Bear Insider.
Hey, Justin, can you touch a little bit on who you expect to miss this first game?
Well, whoever we've who have we let you know? Nobody that's we're expecting everybody to be prepared and ready for action, and there'll be some game time decisions.
A little bit deeper question. You're heading into your 8th season. I know you're a competitive guy, and a bowl game's the minimum standard for you. Kind of took some baby steps last year getting in to the Independence Bowl. And how do you address the staff and yourself in terms of accountability and expectations as a staff heading into the season?
Our job is to maximize every opportunity we get to be on the field. And you're right, it's about winning. And winning, comes down to usually a couple small things. And we've got to do a better job there than we've done in the past. So that's recruiting, depth, development physically, it's schemes, it's the players performing at critical moments. It's all those things, because if you look back in the past few years, the number of one-score games that we were on the wrong end of isn't acceptable. So our job is to identify what needs to improve and give the players the absolute best opportunity to make those improvements, and how we train them, how we prepare them, and how we practice. And then ultimately it's shared responsibility between the coaches and the players that we go out and perform on Saturdays.
Through this month of preparation for the season, do you see steps in the right direction?
Absolutely. It's been an incredibly competitive camp. There's some, players that are going to step forward when it goes live and it's game time that I'm really excited to watch and see. And I would say there's, a number of positions where, there isn't a real pecking order quite yet in the depth chart, and how they perform, this week preparing on Saturday and game day. That's where the depth chart will begin to settle more and more, as the guys that show up and compete at a high level on game day. And so I'm excited to see who that's going to be. And a lot of guys are going to get those opportunities.
Thanks.
All right, Thomas Dunn from Riker, California.
Good afternoon, Justin. You've seen several different iterations of this team throughout your time as head coach, and you've seen how this group has come together through spring ball, summer workouts, and now fall camp. Why is this the group that's going to make noise in the ACC?
Well, again, it comes down to the smallest of things, and it's making the critical plays in key moments. We have some really good players who are returning. We had some guys last year who got valuable experience, and then we added a number of players in the offseason that made the position battles much more intense. So the idea is you want iron to sharpen iron and the competition to bring out the best in everybody. And then when we have the opportunity to make a play in a key moment, that we make it. And the hard thing is you never know exactly when that key moment's coming. And so I think our players done a heck of a job preparing. Our coaches done a great job with them. And now it's time to go play. And, I'm not expecting we're going to aim for perfection. I'm not expecting it to go perfectly. And then we got to continue to improve. Like I said, even throughout this week, during the game, and each and every game following up, because that's what good teams do.
Thank you.
Next one will be Jake Curtis from Cal Sports Report.
Be your starting quarterback.
We will have a starting quarterback. I'm not going to announce it today. I feel really good about the quarterback room. It's been very competitive in there, and really looking forward to watching that position compete.
What are the benefits of not announcing?
What are the benefits to announcing?
That's not my question. My question is, what are the benefits of not announcing?
Well, I don't see that it helps our team right now, to be honest with you, Jake.
One last thing. Do you foresee more than one quarterback playing in the first half?
It's possible.
All right, we'll go to Steve Croner from the SF Chronicle.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Kind of a big picture question. I'm not old enough to have seen the past 70 years of Cal football, but I've seen probably the past 50. And you were on the staff of one of three teams in the past 70 years at Cal that won 10 games when you were in 2004. What are some of the characteristics, beyond having Aaron Rodgers, of course, of that team that you could see, or at least see develop in this team to make it the fourth 10-win team at Cal in the past 70 years?
That's a great question, Steve. Well, it's hard to dismiss the talent. When you have Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn and that group of guys, I mean, those guys are, some of the best to ever play their positions. And so Coach Tedford had a great coaching staff. He did a phenomenal job. And those guys were elite level players. I think the competitiveness was obvious. And I thought the offense and defense back and forth in practice, I remember how competitive that was. And that gives me, you always want to see that. You want to see the offense and the defense go back and forth during practice and see those earned plays, and not, one side making a really good play because the other side busted. You want to see earned plays. And we talked about that the other night in our Friday night meeting. Just the level of earned plays that we've seen in camp is encouraging. Now we got to go out and perform on Saturdays. That's the ultimate test. And that's what we're excited to do this Saturday.
All right, we'll go to Cody Henderson from the League Winners.
Hey, Coach. Any player in particular that you might have noticed in the spring that kind of carried it over into fall camp that has, sort of stepped into a leadership role for this team?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of them, Cody. Be hard for me to pinpoint one, but I think obviously the returners coming back on offense with Jaden and TJ, those are some obvious ones. I think Jack Indries had done a heck of a job in the offseason. Defensively, again, some of those returners. But I think one guy that probably jumps out more than anybody is David Reese. David has been here a couple years now, and he garnered more votes in our team captain voting than any other player on the team. And so that tells you what type of person he is, what type of player he is. And again, to only be here 2 years and be the highest vote getter in the captain voting is pretty impressive. So David would probably be the one if I had to pick one.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
Next question will be from Joe Fonzie.
Justin, sorry to be a little bit old news on this, but I'm doing a story this week on kind of the new landscape as we approach opening day. So we know what the negatives are about the travel and all that. What are the positives about this new conference and the new challenge for you guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, your exposure over multiple time zones. We're going to get the chance to play on the Eastern Seaboard against some great programs with great tradition, and our players and our brand and the university will be getting exposure to maybe people they haven't in the past. And so I think that's a really good thing. Yeah, are the flights a bit longer? Sure they are, but there's nothing we can do to change the length of the trip. We'll mitigate that through great travel planning. But I think it's going to be really cool to go out there and play against some of these teams that we've never played before and places we've never been before. And people are going to get a chance to watch us on TV or in person that have never seen us before. So I think that's a really good thing.
Is it a little bit weird that you and Stanford are kind of kindred spirits in all of this now?
Oh, I don't know if it's weird. Nothing really surprises me anymore. Not in this era of college football. I think we're both, I don't want to speak for them, but I would imagine they feel like we do. We're excited to be a part of the ACC and looking forward to the challenge.
So you're kind of balancing that with, a Pac-12 guy yourself. You played in the conference, all of those traditional rivalries that are gone. That can be balanced by the fact that it's just kind of a new world out there and new things for your players to experience.
Yep, and I think it's new for everybody throughout the country. Everybody's feeling it. It's a time of change in college football, and got to embrace it and keep our knees bent. It's not done changing. I'd put it that way. So we're looking forward to it. We get to play football. We're going to play some great teams. We're going to have new teams coming into our place too. So I think we're going to make the most of it, and our guys are ready to roll.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right, we'll go back to Jeff Corrado.
Justin, your tight end group has gotten fairly deep. You've added to it. I'm wondering what JT Burns' status is with your team and in that group.
JT's done a really good job in camp. He is a hardworking guy. He has some roles on our team for sure, but as you mentioned, that room got very competitive with Jack. Corey Dyches has done a really good job this camp. He brings a unique element to that room in terms of his twitchiness and run after catch. Big Jeff Johnson is a tough guy that's got a role for us. Ben Marshall's had some really good moments in camp. He's just got to be more consistent. And again, we love JT and what he brings to the team and his work ethic and toughness, and he'll have roles for us.
Thank you.
All right, back to Jim McGill.
Justin, you guys were mixing and matching on the offensive line quite a bit during fall camp, and obviously rotating at quarterback between Chandler and Fernando. Are you trying to keep the same starting unit on the field this week to get some continuity heading into the first game?
Yeah, we're always trying to keep the best players on the field as long as possible. There's going to be competition at some of these spots that you mentioned. And so more than one player has earned the right to play the game. And to assume that we're going to have the same 11 throughout the entire season, that won't happen in college football. So we're going to play guys that have earned the right to play. And then, it'll be up to them to go out and perform at a high level with our help.
All right, we'll swing to Thomas Dunn.
Justin, players have leaned on their coaches for advice on how to improve. In your tenure as a head coach, who have you leaned on in order to garner advice on whether to improve situationally or in general? Who have you in particular gone to for that type of advice?
Oh, I have a lot of a lot of people that I still talk to in the coaching profession, and some of them are there's strategic things that we might get together and talk about or talk over the phone. We also do a lot of kind of a work on situational football, and you'll reach out to a couple different people to do that. And a lot of this is, how there's decisions to be made, and how people view certain situations. And, the ones that are more simple, it's kind of 100 to nothing, and then there are things that you have to take some context into consideration. So kind of talking through those things, but I have a really good group of coaches and friends that I've made throughout my career, and we'll get together and chat on the phone. It might be about roster management. It might be about, a little bit of everything, off-season programming, But yeah, you're constantly growing and changing. And if you're not, then probably time to seek a new profession.
Thank you.
All right, Matt Moreno from Rivals.
As you look back at the entirety of the offseason, where do you feel like maybe is the one or two areas or just areas overall where you feel like you guys have had the most growth over the last several months?
Yeah. Are you talking kind of on the field, position wise?
On the field, just as a team in terms of areas of improvement that you guys have had?
Yeah, I think the competitiveness, the competitiveness during practice and position battles has been more intense, and maybe than previous years with some unsettled spots. And I think our team speed overall has been improved. I think that's been noticeable as well.
All right, we'll go to Joaquin Ruiz from the Daily Cal.
Hey, Coach. Earlier today, Cade Uave mentioned, kind of having or noticing more chemistry within the team, and then also feeling more comfortable personally as he's kind of, known his role for a while now. Are there any other players that you've seen or noticed that have really emerged as being more comfortable within the system or just knowing their role for the season?
Well, I think guys that have invested their time and been here, like Cade's been here for over a year now, that's what you would expect. And I'm glad that he feels that way. He's sure playing like it. And, all those things, the comfort in the system, knowing what to do, knowing what to expect kind of day to day, all that plays a part. Getting older, growing physically. I think all that, you hear that phrase, the game's starting to slow down for me. Yeah, I think that's part of it. Ultimately, the play will tell the story. Your play on Saturdays will tell the true story. And so I'm excited for him. I know Cade's going to make some big plays. He's obviously done that already. And then there's a number of other players who are a year along, who have been in the system, who have a better understanding. And now all those things, well, that's got to manifest itself into performance on Saturday. So that's what I'm excited to see.
All right, last question will be from Cody Henderson.
Yeah, Coach, why should Cal fans be excited for this season?
Well, like I said, this offseason, we added a number of new players. It's been extremely competitive. There's going to be new faces, for them to get to know, and it's going to be an exciting year. We've been too close too many times, and now it's up to us to win those close games. And as I mentioned before, that comes from all of us doing a little bit better in our own jobs. But I'm really excited about it. We got really good guys on the team. They're very competitive, and they're looking forward to playing and kicking it off this Saturday.